Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the 24th of November episode of the Beer Blades and Bushcraft live stream. What we're going to talk about tonight is old-fashioned stuff, old-fashioned skill sets, old-fashioned approaches versus more modern um, efficiencies, Uh, and how for some people the benefits of modern efficiency don't outweigh the magic or the romance of the old ways of doing things. I'm going to talk just a little bit, going to crack open an alcoholic beverage, and then um, I'll invite people to come on, tell a few stories, give a little opinion, um, and then see where it takes us. Yep. Okay. So I've got a very unstable internet connection right now for some reason. So I may freeze a few times. If I do, anyone who's come in after I said this, let the others know that I don't know what's up with my internet connection, but it's been iffy lately. I just want to take a moment to say hi to the people who are rolling in. Grace was here first tonight. Nice to see you, Grace. Good to see Tenenbaum back in the house. He's always got some interesting stuff to say, whether it's on screen or in the side chat. Colin's here. How's it going, Mister? Hope you're keeping well out there. Last Boy Scout. Nice to see you. Yes, Grace. I froze. Yeah. I'm doing. Colin, or for those of you who don't know, Kincaid Outdoors is asking how everyone's doing. For myself, I'm doing fairly well. It's cold out. It's cold out today. We are. Hey, Simon, comment va, monsieur? We are deep in the Christmas prep in this house, as you can see right there. All that pile of stuff. That's all Christmas wrapping and stuffs like that. We don't have a tree up yet, though. That would be too early for me. The madame and I had a discussion because I don't think Christmas stuff should go up before November the 11th. I feel that it is crass to have Christmas stuff up on or before Remembrance Day. She threw me a bone this year. Nothing went up. Not until later, at any rate. I did not plan this properly. I ran in here. I was going to fix that. See right there? That's a wicked rust spot on a very, well, not a very old. This razor's from like around 1850 or 1860. So I want to get the rust off of it, and I was gonna do it while I was talking to you guys because it really fits in with what we were going to talk. Well, what we are going to talk about, but I forgot to bring the sandpaper and stuff over. So, oh well. Very professional I am. Well prepared. But hey, at least I brought the beer. Unlike with most of these live streams, I have had this beer before. The first time I had it was on a live stream, though, so I'm giving myself a pass. Now, you want to know how I know that Serge is not going to be joining us tonight? I didn't blow the pour. Oh well. See you someday, Serge. For those of you who've been hanging out for many of my live streams, you know that every time that guy is around, I end up with like this much head. He's just magical that way. IRC Adventures, how's it going? Wind is blowing so hard that I obtained a comb over, and you're hi, Mark. Okay, we got a good group of people hanging tonight. That's good to see. I wish I could tell you about some upcoming panel discussions and stuff, but I feel that would be ruining the surprise, so I will not. Tyler Rodriguez is in the house. How's it going? I just got pinged. Sorry, guys. It's just, it might be someone about this live stream, so I'm just going to check it. Okay, I will deal with that. So, am I back on or not? If I am, let me know. Oh, such a frustrating little issue. I don't know. We picked up some network issues fairly recently, and they just won't leave me alone. I don't know what's going on, but it's pissing me right the hell off. So I'm gonna drink a sip of beer. So yeah, I wanted to talk about sort of I just want to say, if I disappear again, I will unplug the Ethernet and plug it back in or something. And I will be back if I can be. I talk a lot about the older ways of doing things on my channel. I talk a lot about preferring. Give me one little second. About preferring old school fabrics like wool and leather and canvas over Gore-Tex and nylon and synthetics. I talk a lot about, preferring the axe over the chainsaw, preferring, a wooden buck saw over a chainsaw. Preferring the magic of a wooden buck saw over the the technological magic of my aluminium Agua Canyon, my Boreal 21, though I use the Boreal 21 more, to be honest, because it is an example of where modern efficiency, or in postmodern efficiency, definitely outclasses the old way. Serge, you're here, but I didn't blow the beer pour tonight. And in fact, I even spoke about that. But yes, I'm I'm having some network issues. Speaking about modern efficiencies. Oh yes, so the beer I'm having tonight is Miet by Ashlag. Miet means crumbs. So it's a bière au pain. It's a beer bread, a bread beer. 473 milliliters, 5.2%. So straight up normal Canadian beer. And the ingredients are 100% Quebecois. Ashlag is Montreal, Quebec. It's a very tasty beer. As I said before, I've had this before, but because the first time I had it was on a live stream, I'm giving myself a pass tonight. So, where was I? Yeah, so I talk about this a lot, but not in a not in a concentrated, like full-on way. I've never really explored why I prefer the old ways of doing things. I've never given it much thought. I know what I like. I like lighting a fire with preferably flint and steel. I've said it before and I'll say it again. That's my absolute favorite way of doing it. A ferro rod is number 2. Right now I do a lot more ferro rod because my daughter lights the fires and she's getting pretty good at the ferro rod. Not so much with the flint and steel, but it's a skill. You gotta build it up. Hey, Creative Redundancies here. How's it going? And a lot of why I like these older ways of doing things has nothing to do with efficiency. It can't have anything to do with efficiency because the newer ways, the postmodern ways, have it all over the old ways when it comes to efficiency. It's not about efficiency. What it's about is feeling the time-honored ways of doing things. Of the most basic version of the most basic take on this that I ever really discuss is how the heat from a fire, even like a wood-burning oven stove, like a wood stove, is different. It's a more organic feeling heat than off of like one of these electrical. See that guy right there? or like a gas furnace or something. One of these guys here, the heat is very excuse me, the heat is very, very even. It comes out and it's just it's an urban heat, right? It just comes out in a very even way. The coverage is pretty predictable. Whereas the heat coming off of a fire or out of a wood burning stove, it throbs, it moves, right? It flickers, and you feel the flicker. You see the flicker of the flames, but you also feel how the heat can move a little bit, especially with an open fire. But I find it happens a bit with a wood burning stove as well. It's a much more organic feeling heat, and you can't duplicate that with modern methods, with postmodern methods. And there's a time-honored, it's more than time-honored, actually. Sitting next to a fire, it's more than just a time-honored way of keeping warm. It's a primeval way of keeping warm. It's the way people were keeping warm before they were even speaking like Indo-European, right? Before all the language families splintered off from the original Indo-European or Proto. Fire has been keeping us warm and treating our food and moving the spirit for so long that we don't even really know when that started. And so when I'm sitting there and I'm feeling the heat coming off of a fire, I feel connected to all that. And I think that maybe that's like, because I have internalized that so much, it seeps out into other things in my life. I don't know how many of you guys noticed that for a while on some of my live streams, I had this big old sore here. That's because I was drilling a hole in a whiskey barrel with a carpenter's bit and brace. And what I do, I don't know if I've explained this before, but anyways, so what I do when I'm trying to get a little pressure on, because I'm not very tall, is I'll just sort of put my forehead on it and push down. And I'm not the only one who does this, so don't even bother trying to make me feel silly. But because I was going into a barrel instead of like just going through a piece of wood, I couldn't judge because I didn't know how thick that barrel head was going to be. I wasn't sure when it was going to pop through, and it popped through, and I just pow, and like my glasses were jammed onto my nose and just. So if I'd been using just an electric drill, I wouldn't have had that issue. But it was worth it. I was about to pound my desk, and I stopped myself, but it was worth it because I like working that way. I like having the feeling of. I just reminded myself of something that Paul Sellers said a long time ago in an early ass video of his. He said that, and I'm paraphrasing massively and possibly not getting it even remotely close to what he said, but the theory is that with a hand tool, and I'm sure I've said this before, guys, sorry if I have, with a hand tool, you have a tactile connection to the work you're doing. Whereas with power tools are all about turning circular motion into back and forward motion, or keeping it circular or whatever, for like to do the job, because engines do that. For me, the most concrete result of this is something that I run into all the time. If I'm cutting with a saw and it starts to go off the line, I can feel it go and I can bring it back before it's wrecked. If I'm doing this with like a skill saw, like a circular saw, by the time I've felt that I've gone off the line, forget about it. I'm way beyond the point where I can fix it. Yeah, a circular saw is so much more efficient than eeker. But if I feel going off, I can fix it. And I'm not going to feel it until it's too late with that highly efficient postmodern tool. And I have a bunch of power tools. Don't get me wrong, guys. I got a bunch of power tools in there, and I use them when the context is right. And I use them when I don't have time to be all like Jesse's existing in the past and all that stuff. They have their place, and you will definitely get your work done faster using a circular saw and a power drill and stuff like that. But if you're doing something, don't you want to kind of enjoy it? Like, if you're the type who gets off on the tactility of older tools, and you're doing something, you got to do something, whatever it is. Don't you kind of want to feel the fizz just a little bit? And not everyone gets the fizz from older, old school skills and old school tools, and that's legit too. But someone out there has to be getting the work done while the rest of us are faffing around in the past, right? I just want to pay attention to the side chat a little bit because I feel that I've been, Colin says bows over firearms. I would like to get into bow hunting. I do not yet have a bow, and because I don't talk firearms on my channel, that's as much as I'm going to say. But maybe we can chat one day, because I would like to take up crossbow at least. Creative Redundancy is in the house saying hi. People of the chat came by to show support, which is always nice. Oh, and before we go any further, I do want to say that if you are watching the video time shifted to tomorrow or something rather than live, you're still very welcome. I'm thrilled that you're spending your time with me even after the fact. Should have said that at the beginning. But it's amazing how many people do watch these videos like the next day, while they're having their morning coffee or whatever. Simo's been busy as hell. As always. Let me see. Colin has a series of videos up about his bow hunting backdrop. archery backdrop. I'll check those out, Colin. And by the way, Colin likes it for you. Kincaid Outdoors likes you to use his name, Colin, if you do speak to him. I do try to mention that every now and again because it seems important to Colin. And living in French Canada with a name like Jesse, I absolutely appreciate when people want to be called one thing over something else. Colin says, carries flint and steel with me whenever I go, though his necklace is jasper, which works in place of flint. I love jasper. I used to have something and it got lost long time ago, and I remember being really broken up about it. Yeah, I'm not good with the bow drill. I'm not good with a bow drill. Which is why I mean, it's something. Maybe it's a skill that I've got to really work at to make me a fully rounded bushcrafter or something. But I can do flint and steel. I can do ferro rod, and it's just so much easier to do what I already know how to do when I'm trying to get a damn fire lit. I carved a bow drill set at one point. I don't know where it is though. Someone says, about tonight's discussion, I'll make straight using YouTube, so we're all technology addicts, nothing to hide. That's it for tonight's live stream. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Simo likes to have the last word, so we'll just keep going for another hour and a half so that he doesn't get the last word. Oh, yeah. Colin, yes, and the smell of wood smoke, absolutely. You don't get that with electric heat. You don't get that with, like, the tactility of old school skills and stuff. It's not just about the feel, actually. There's also the look of stuff. There's the smell of stuff. There's, like, how many of you guys have tried to get a freaking gas powered chainsaw working when you didn't change the oil, or you need to add some freaking yada fluid to it or something? Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Like, I hunt with, when I used to hunt with guys who maybe didn't take as much care of their tools as they should have. So very often, squeak, squeak. Go back to the four-wheeler, dig around for like some, I don't know, carburetor fluid or something. I don't know. I'm just pulling stuff out of the ether because I don't own a chainsaw. So I'm sort of remembering, and I'm just more standing there watching, getting something. Then I was like actively involved. And like the smell and this stuff, like there's no real magic to a chainsaw. And it wasn't supposed to be, right? It was something to get lumberjacks moving, something to get the trees down faster. It's all about the efficiency. It's not about, being a traditional woodsman, the mythological woodsman who used saws that were like 12 feet long, usually like 2 6-footers welded together on those huge trees, double-sided axe, like the old school, like a Sager chemical, or black and white photos of guys in plaid shirts halfway up a tree. The chainsaw killed that. It killed the axe companies. It killed that entire culture in many, many ways. A modern day lumberjack is nothing like that. Hell, I'm related through marriage to someone who owns a tree farm. A machine comes through and just grabs the trees. The smell of wood smoke has no place in that kind of world. And I like the smell of wood smoke. And it's weird because I kind of feel that when I talk about this stuff, I feel like I should be like sitting there on the porch and get off my lawn. But I'm not like that. I'm not a curmudgeon. Yeah, I'm a bit of a curmudgeon, but like I don't, hate the kids and all that all that sort of cliched stuff. That's not who I am. But I have such an appreciation for, like, one of the reasons I like council tools so much is because the American axe industry just completely lost it. Like, went completely away from the old fashioned ways of doing things. Unless you're talking about, small outfit, big ticket purchase, Liam Hoffman kind of, outfits, right? But I mean, big ass, like golden age axe companies. I think the council is the last one really that's really left. That's really making quality tools. Or might even just be full on the last one standing. True Temper. I have a True Temper wheelbarrow. It's plastic. I mean, it's wood and plastic, but the barrow part, not the wheel part, but the barrow part, whatever. The thing that looks like a big pail, that's plastic. So if there's a company that's lost track of its path, that's True Temper for you. Colin's not doing a live stream on Thursday due to the holiday. What? Oh, you guys are finally having Thanksgiving on Thursday, right? Which would make Black Friday make sense. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes, sir. I use egg beater drills as often as I can. So, stuff like putting shelves up on the walls, I'll just use my, but if I'm working with wood, it's a carpenter's brace or one of those egg beater drills. Absolutely. And they don't make the noise. The noise? You know what I'm talking about? No, they don't. Absolutely. No. I'm getting really behind on the side chat. I'm going to drop an invite for anyone who wants to come on and talk about this pretty soon. I'll just try to catch up with the side chat and then open it up. Yeah, I couldn't get a bow drill fire started either. It's as I said, maybe I've just really got to practice at it. Doing more old school stuff by hand always makes you appreciate the modern stuff more. What I appreciate about the modern stuff is having more time to relax because it took less time to do something. But that only really counts when I'm doing something I kind of didn't want to do, like putting up shelves or putting up a picture, or I'll have to do it to strap the Christmas tree to the wall so that the kid doesn't pull it down or something like that. And those kinds of jobs, modern efficiency, I'm all for it because it gets it done faster. But if I'm working on something that I want, that's fun, like a woodworking project, I don't need it to be done faster with the modern zzz of a drill or a drill press or a saw. I want to zen out. I want to zen out as much as I want to zen out after supper in the woods with a fire and a well-deserved scotch, which means all the tools are put away, and just watch the sun go down. Spent a day building a shelter out of dead trees. The only modern thing I've used is my cell phone or a camera. I really miss that, guys. Yeah, I got to get into the woods. Anyway, but so if I'm doing something that I want to be doing, I don't need it to be done faster. I like the smell. I love using a plane, like a like a well set up plane where you're getting these shavings that are like just like almost ephemeral. Like almost if you just blow on them, they because they're so thin. Like stuff like that. When you get like a handheld electric planer, you don't get those, and you don't get that shiny, smooth effect either. There are certain results that you only get with real old school technology. Oh, you've done a lens fire, Colin? Yeah, I haven't. I've tried, but it was, I guess, too cloudy. I know that you need to be focusing the light on like a darker part of whatever you're trying to light, but oh yeah, creative. You've done a lot of solar. Maybe I got to try that again. Colin, I don't know. I have done very little archery, so I don't have enough experience to tell you whether I like the old school bows more than the recurves or whatever. I know that the archery that I am actively interested in doing, if I ever go hunting again, would be crossbow. So I guess by default, that's kind of modern because nobody has one of those old sort of heavy wooden crank. Try to kill the guy in the helmet, charging down the hill. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it because it's firearms related. But my choice in boomsticks is also very classical. I also have a slingshot. I very rarely use it. There's a squirrel that keeps getting into my house that I would love to use it on, but you get in a lot of trouble. I'm not even allowed to trap a squirrel and take it out and take it away. Let it go somewhere because that's trapping. Colin, if I ever get money again, like I have to be playing gigs to buy anything at this point, and I'm not playing gigs probably for the foreseeable future. We may be, the pubs may not be doing real shows again for like another year. So let's talk about this again someday. I especially need help knowing how to size things, Hey, holy crap, Elaine's here. Elaine was supposed to pass me 2 big old choppers so I could do a compare and contrast video. Then COVID hit. But I'm still, I'm optimistic. Something will happen. But it's good to see you, Elaine. Serge is here too. Oh, in fact, he just said good evening, bro. Colin says, have a drink for me. Sure thing. I'm getting through this pretty quick, actually. So good. Oh, are you picking up on what I'm yeah, some tea and honey. Absolutely. I'm going to after this live stream is done. Or I may do like a little hot toddy afterwards or something. What do you guys think? Would that be a mistake? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't had a hot toddy in a long time. I'm not even sure if they really work the way people say they do. Like, oh yeah, you're sick, have a hot toddy, you'll feel great. Put me to sleep, that's for sure. I'm trying not to burp into the mic here, guys. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you, Colin. I don't have a chainsaw either. I would like one. What I would like is a chainsaw on one of those Alaskan chainsaw mills so that I can make planks. I have a friend who's got one, like a low end setup, but he still gets, he's an ash tree came down on his property. Well, with the help of people who are hired to take these things down because it was dead. He's got some really nice wood, and he's, building a chair from a tree that was on his property. That's connection. I want to be able to do that one day. A tree comes down, I want to be able to say, listen, leave me Leave me that much of it. Don't chop it up. Don't do anything. Leave it, and then just bucket up to the lengths I need and make planks, so I can do something. I want to do that. What I would love to do with that is like old school tools, but if I'm trying to just get some planks made, I'm willing to meet the new fashioned ways of doing things, the newfangled, the postmodern efficiencies. Is when I'm enjoying myself, that I don't want no motors around. Paul Bunyan. I used to work in a rental store. I never forget the smell of chain oil. Yeah, and you don't. And for some people, it's the same as I was saying a long time ago, how because of where I was as a kid, part of me still really has a warm spot in my heart for the smell of those gas camp stoves. Like, not the ones where you just screw the gas canister on, but the ones that you had to pump. I mean, I was a kid in the 70s, right? I was born in 72. And part of me still really loves the smell of that old gas and those old, they still make these too. Those, those things that look like stove elements, but they're green, and you light them to get the mosquitoes away. This is all stuff I don't want my girls growing up liking the smell of, because, I want them to experience a more natural way of interfacing with the outdoors. But part of me still really likes those smells because I associate them with, camping in the 70s. And the 80s. Maybe even the 90s. I don't know. No, by the 90s, even the 80s, we weren't really using that stuff anymore. But I just, smells are so evocative. They're so evocative. I mean, I am not into fossil fuels at all, but I still have a soft place. I'm trying to translate on the fly here, guys. Soft spot in my heart for those old stoves and like lanterns that you had to sort of pump. Yeah, I agree, Colin. Yeah. I before the whole COVID stuff hit, I had been talking to Craig Roost from the Axe Junkies Facebook group, also one of the designers at Council Tool, about having an extravaganza attached to one of the outdoor shows in Toronto one year, so that anyone who's sort of around there can come up and we can all do a meetup. I still really like to do that. I would love to run something like that. Because I'd like to meet some of you guys. Some of you. Not all of you. I don't want to meet Serge. Just kidding. I miss you, Serge, man. I miss our days in the bush. I'm all freaking melancholy these days. It's stupid. Oh, I just lost my place. Tabernouche. Hold on. For those of you who don't know, tabernouche is a very gentle way of saying the worst swear word that exists in Quebecois. Hold on. No. Okay. Yeah, I like vintage axe heads as well. I haven't bought any in a long time because I'm really, I have to watch the bucks. But there are certain things I'm on the passive outlook for, and there are certain things I'm on a very, very, I'm not on an active outlook for them right now because, but things I would really love. For instance, I have a hewing axe head, but I want a Canada pattern hewing axe head. And do you guys know the one I have is a Pennsylvania pattern? And I like it, and I'm not looking to get rid of it. But I want a Canada pattern one. There are like 3 or 4 specific patterns. And the Pennsylvania and the other 1 or 2 are very, very similar. The Canada pattern it's not really the prettiest of the patterns, but I really like it. It's unique in that it's got like sort of 2 scallops. So if you look at the edge, okay, the edge is, the edge is the bit is a typical bit, but because of the two scallops, the back end of the bevel sort of, comes to a peak. If you'll just give me a second, this isn't very pro, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to look up Canada pattern hewing axe and show you guys. Anyone who's watched an axe to grind will know what I'm talking about, even if they've forgotten about it. Because what's his name? The guy in that video had one. Yeah. Okay. Let me just see if I can do this. Let me see if I can do this. No, application window. This baby right here. Share. You guys seeing this? You guys seeing this? See this guy like that? So that's a Canada pattern, right? It's kind of flat here, and then it's got that swoopy because of these two scallops. Whereas if I was to do a search for a Pennsylvania pattern, which is what I have, and it's hard to type around a microphone where you can't really see the keyboard. There it is. That's what I got, essentially. Right? Also very, very nice looking. Here's another picture of one from further away. And part of the reason is because I have this dream. Okay, my garage is falling apart. To sort of bring it back into shape, it's going to be very expensive. So I kind of have this idea of like, why don't just knock the damn roof off, reframe it, put a roof on with like skylights, and maybe where the gables are, just make that a big window and everything. And I would love for the beam at the top of I would love to hew that out of a log. And so that's why I bought a hewing axe head. I mean, I'm not going to do that this year or next year, but it's like I would love to just get a log dropped off, or go get a log, hew the hell out of it, and stick it into the frame, and then have the rest of and then either build the rest of the roof or have it built for me. I would love to redo my garage completely as a straight up workshop, And I want to hew the log using a hewing axe instead of that Alaskan chainsaw mill that I also want. Like that I want for making planks. But I just want the experience of hewing a log. I'm just going to try to catch up. Yes, Thanksgiving is Thursday, right? For us, it was last month, so. Serge says, I love my power tools, but I think hand tools and the old ways of doing things also feel artistic. Yeah, okay, and that's, no different than picking up a paintbrush. That's actually, I hadn't really thought of it that way, but that's legit. It's more of like an artisanal approach. Yeah, I could buy that. Of course, IRC Adventures comes in with, I like lighting my pipe with a blowtorch, screw the matches. Now that's modern. I hope you're careful when doing that. And God, I hope you don't have a beard. Okay, fair enough. A cordless drill and a dowel rod. Did he put the dowel rod in the cordless drill? Yeah, but like for a modern efficiency take on a bow drill. I've lit someone's pipe once with my flint and steel. Yeah, if I was a pipe smoker, I would want to do flint and steel. And I guess, what did they use, like char cloth or charred punk wood or something? Like, how would they, or do they just get the spark into the? Because at one point, people lit a pipe without matches or a lighter, So I wonder. Colin, man, yeah, brother, we know it. And yes, tactile sensations are big. For me, anyways, tactile sensations are key. It's a very important part of everything I do. It's where the magic happens, I feel. You know, the senses, for the touch, the smell, the sounds. Tinderbomb says it's not always about faster though. You would argue that waterproof, breathable fabrics are a game changer, and there really are not old school options to compare. Okay, yeah, that's true. Like when you're reading, what's it, Sears? One of the big sort of the big name old school Americans, right? Where he's always talking about, but if you get your pants made from pantasote, or like all the old school fabrics he's talking about, they're not gonna wick sweat away. They're not going to. In some cases, they're not going to breathe. Linen is great. Uh, Leather and canvas can be quite stifling. But on the other side of it, though, Tenenbaum, is the fact that if as I not always, but as I have often said, you're sitting next to a fire and an ember lands on your wool shirt, you can just brush it off. Whereas I have holes in very expensive Gore-Tex jackets from an ember landing there and just going before I could, there's definitely give or take in this argument. Absolutely. And I think that let me just check the time. 21:51. Okay, so in 9 minutes I'm opening up the floor, okay? So get your stories and opinions ready. Yeah, there's give and take. There are benefits, and there are slings and arrows, and there are benefits to both sides. But it's kind of like you make your choice knowing that and making your choice in spite of that. I make the choice to swing an axe instead of a chainsaw for several reasons. One is financial, because chainsaws are big money, and axes, well, can also be big money, but they're lighter to carry. You're not buying into the whole gas, oil, other fluids part of owning a chainsaw. And I feel the poetry when I'm hacking at a piece of wood with an axe. I could be in any year from 2020 to 1820 to 1720 to 1620 to 1420. And it's the same leverage. It's the same general design, right? The only difference between like a 300-year-old axe and this baby is, well, the pole is a big thing. Okay. Right. The pole was a very major change. But aside from that, it's all incremental changes. Like maybe really old axes were just straight handled. Right. Whereas, this shape here, it's all based on, where you hold it gives you more leverage, more control, this and that. Right. I mean, the bearded aspect is not necessarily only modern. There are older bearded axes, not that many though, really. If you look at a full on, like straight up real Viking axe, it doesn't look like what most of the Viking axes these days make them out to be. Wood and a metal wedge. Ötzi had a variation on the same theme. Sure, it was more of like a socketed axe, right? Where you would build you would stick the head into where there was a natural Y in the wood, right? Cut. It's all incremental change. Ötzi had what in his era would have been a very valuable copper axe. And it worked the same as this axe here. It worked exactly the same as this one. That's powerful stuff, man. But if you don't ever think along these lines, then you're not the type to feel the magic of an axe while you're doing the same movements as they've been doing for thousands of years. You're probably going to go for the chainsaw because it's the modern, efficient method. But I went to art school my whole life. I was publishing poems at one point. I was writing screenplays in school. I come from the artsy fartsy side of life, for better or for worse. A hell of a lot for worse, to be honest with you. I spent vast amounts of my youth learning the intricacies of watercolors and which papers they go well with, and that is an excellent way to set yourself up for exactly the kind of philosophies that I'm talking to you guys about. Somewhere I have a Fresnel lens, not that big, but like a wallet size one, but I have no idea where it is. Oh, Colin does a lot of medieval reenacting. Okay. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, we're not going to have this conversation, but I do agree. There's an over-under that I would dearly like. Is that how far behind on the chat I am? I was looking up the log cabin shop in Lodi, Ohio. They had a tobacco tin with a magnifying glass. I've thought about picking one up. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Voyager style. They're really expensive up here, though. That's like $50. I just have to win the lottery so I can just buy a bunch of stuff. Yes, that's. I think he's talking about the same thing. The brass match case. Yeah. You see, you guys are getting it, man. You guys, these old school, like, and it's got a really good sort of seal to it. The thing is, man, these things start to cost a lot of money because not a lot of people are buying them anymore. Like, economies of scale play into this in a big, big way. Yeah, I would love to set up a rendezvous at some point. It doesn't have to be here in Quebec. It could be like somewhere in southern Ontario. It can be, if I knew anything about like Vermont or New York State, somewhere like, it has to be somewhere that I can get to within a reasonable amount of driving. And I think that a lot of you guys could get to any of those areas as well. I'm going to skip ahead here because it's like I'm way behind and I want to let people come on. Oh, Tenenbaum, you are so right about that. The old school raincoat, forget about it. I don't want to be sitting there in the rain, sweating in essentially a bicycle tire. No way. Absolutely. Hey, Mallory's here. Nice. I was thinking about you recently. What was it about? I think I was wondering about Copper, how Copper was doing, actually. But it was after you met one of my friends online, and we had that chat. I know, like 15th century telescopes were made, so I figure eventually someone tried with the sun, for example. I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, yeah, right? Okay, this is what I'm talking about as well. Black the Last Boy Scout was clearing a ditch, burning some bush, slipped on the mud and fell in the outer parts of the fire, lit up a brand new hoodie. Right? If you're just like wool, you've got a chance. Even canvas, you've got a chance. If you haven't treated it with a bunch of oil or something. Okay. Mallory says, "Hey, Colin, what's going on? Jesse's behind on the chat again. Bahaha. Okay. I see how it's going to be. All right. Hey, Austin's Corner's here. How's it going? Austin's Corner's probably been here like 20 minutes, and I am that far behind. Hike with Mike. Hi. Get together in the swamps of Florida. Oh, not during the summer, dude. I have in-laws in a few different cities in Florida. Whoa, hold on. What Colin just said. I have a friend in Maine as a blacksmith, and he's only 20 miles from Canada. I wonder which province you're near in Maine. Is it like Ontario, or is that... No, that's New Brunswick. Like the New Brunswick, Quebec border, I think. Cutler, Maine. Cutler, Maine. I wonder where that is. I'll look that up later. I must remember to look that up later. Okay, you know what? I've been bibbling and babbling enough. Let's open it up. I want to know what you guys think about old school skills versus new school efficiencies. Are you on the side of the old school magic, or do you like things to just move? I'm going to give time to see this too. All right, creative. I saw it. Alain, I love those coats. I love them. If you really don't want it, I'll take it off your hands. I'll, I don't know, carve you a spoon or something in return. Yeah. Lakes and Hikes is here. How's it going? It's Scotch time, guys. Well, I don't know, actually. Is it Scotch time, or is it Canadian micro distillery whiskey time? I've got, oh, for land's sakes, the lighting. The Bruichladdich, the classic laddie, which is a fine bloody dram. Or I've got a little Rosemont Whiskey de Montréal. What do you guys think? What should I open? Well, they're both open, but what should I pour a dram from? All right. See you later, Creative Redundancy. See you later. Hike with Mike says, I'm an old schooler. Paper and pencils is always online. Flint and steel always starts a fire. Absolutely. And, you know, part of why I was thinking about this is because, excuse me, guys. Sorry. I was listening to an old video by Kevin Callan where he's talking about these, right? Compass and map. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you might be in an area where the GPS on your phone isn't going to get any signal. So then what? Which reminded me, and this is where I get a little confessional, I haven't actually used this one yet, and I haven't used a map and compass in years. And so I've decided, you know, I got this one out, made sure that it still works, set the declination, declination, fudge. Set it for my location. And I'm going to see if I can get some topo maps of the local area and maybe go and test my skills out. See if I can get it back, because I know the theories. I just find that the theory is only good so far. You need to have practice, you know, and I haven't practiced so many of the skills that I talk about. Hi, Mal.
What's up?
You know, I'm just blithering and blathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how I do.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
How's Copper?
Copper's abscess finally busted, so I'm still like not out of the woods yet, but I'm really hopeful that it'll be good for another 2 weeks, and then we'll be able to get him some corrective shoes on. So hopefully he'll be able to heal throughout the whole winter, and I
I
hope.
didn't even know there were corrective shoes for horses.
Yep.
Goes to show you how it's funny because I often say I've never had horses. I've never ridden a horse. I've never really been into them. But if I was, I would want an Appaloosa.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh man, I've never really been into, but I saw an Appaloosa one day and I was like, okay, I could definitely, with the spotted arse on them and
Yeah.
the oh jeez,
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're like the Indian, like Native American sort of horse, you know?
yeah,
They're really awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah,
Oh,
corrective shoes are a thing. Sometimes, like my horse, what's happening is his hoof. Okay, I'm gonna show you this. This is his hoof, right?
yeah,
So we have to take off a whole bunch of the hoof wall, and so all that's what's supporting all his weight is that
mm-hmm,
hoof on the bottom right there, the hoof
right,
wall. So now that we have to take it all off, we need to get a a shoe underneath so that it'll support all his weight, because or else he'll go lame, and that
yeah,
would suck. So, yeah, it's a lot of work.
right,
Yeah,
amazing. Well,
I'm
I'm glad to
learning a
hear that
lot.
it's yeah. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. But hey, learning is good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Learning is definitely good.
I learn every day.
Yeah, I do too. But I don't learn. I don't learn that kind of stuff. I learn the kind of stuff you learn while working in the tech industry. I'm trying to decide between these two bottles, which I should have a dram of.
What's that blue?
Scotch. It's not showing up as it's Bruichladdich. It's the classic laddie. It's an unpeated Scotch. No
Mm,
age statement, but it's a very bloody good dram. Um, and this is a micro distillery.
mm. I'd go for that one.
This one, all
Yep.
right, that's what I'm doing then. Ah,
You know what? I'm gonna go get myself a little tiny drink. I haven't been drinking in a little while because I quit smoking cigarettes 6 or 7 days ago, and so I'm trying to stay away from everything that makes me wanna smoke, which sucks because going outside makes me wanna smoke.
that's tough.
I've been
I'll
eating a
tell
lot
you.
of candy.
Uh huh. Um, I used to know a girl a long time ago, and this is outside the scope of what tonight's show is about. But I'll just tell the quick story. Um, she used to hang out at the same like cheesy ass restaurant I hung out at. Um, and she could not drink coffee because she associated coffee with smoking.
Oh,
And she couldn't drink coffee because she couldn't smoke because she associated smoking with beer, and she was a raging alcoholic who was doing AA.
yeah.
So she had to quit everything on the same day, and she'd been keeping it together for like 10 years.
Wow.
And let me tell you, this was the least judgmental person you will ever meet.
I bet.
You know, so it's just like a whole chain of things. Okay, gotta stop drinking, which means crap, gotta stop smoking. Oh, piss, that means I gotta stop drinking coffee. So she would just sit there and have like a pizza and a glass of water kind of thing.
Yeah, man, I feel her. I feel her, seriously. It's
Yeah.
hard for me because I would smoke literally a pack of cigarette a week. So I didn't have the, like, coughing, I didn't have the you know, I didn't have any downfalls of it. So I just smoked because I really liked it.
Hmm.
And so I was, like, thinking to myself, "Okay, well, I have to go to the store every time I don't have any. I'm lazy, I don't wanna go out to the store when it's really cold."
You are
So
not lazy, man.
oh.
Unless like your videos are the only time you're ever doing anything.
Oh. Well, editing takes time too. Sometimes I'm in front of my computer for a very long time.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, like, these days, I'm just sort of, like, almost on the verge of a burnout, so I really need to, like, slow down and,
Hmm.
because it's been a big weird year, and,
Yeah,
burnout's a thing.
burnout's
So,
the thing.
yeah, I'm trying to prevent it.
Yeah. Alain says, nice. You'll benefit so much from not smoking if you can keep it up. Don't give
Yeah,
up. And I,
thank
I
you.
agree. I think if you can do this, then if you can do this, then there's nothing you can't do.
Oh, yeah, and it's one of the hardest things that
Yeah.
I've had to do so far because, man, I've been smoking since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst part. I've been smoking for over 15 years.
Yeah,
Over
it's tough to give it
15.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Um, hmm.
and
Well,
I don't do
good
any
luck.
drugs. I don't do any of anything. Like, that's the only thing that I had, the only drug that I
Yeah.
had other than alcohol.
Yeah, well, this is essentially what
You
I
know?
got, and let me tell you, you don't drink a lot of this at a time because it's expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Mark.
Mm. So yeah, so what we're talking about tonight is um, like old school skills versus new school efficiencies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure you've got some opinions on this because you're living the the kind of world that most of
Yeah.
us just play in, right? Like for you, the difference between, using a drill like this versus using a drill like this. I mean, I
I have a
remember
really
you
good
taking the
example.
damn, the walls off your home and fixing up your home and stuff. I mean, you're
Yeah.
living this stuff.
Yeah, I am, and, like, seriously, I have a really good example of that, like, the old skills using the old tools, like, you guys if you follow my channel, you know that I don't have a tractor or a rototiller or anything in my garden. I just go all by hand, and I use old hand tools, and that's what's fun about it is that I don't have to depend on the weather in the springtime because, tractors will go and they have to wait because or else they're gonna mess up their whole fields, but I can just walk in my garden in springtime way before them
Yeah.
and plant my stuff,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I get
So
that. Yeah.
that's like a whole bunch of benefits of doing stuff the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. I get that as well. I think you must have amazing arms, and you must because you got a big ass garden.
Yeah, I got some pretty good arms.
Yeah. I think. Hey, Austin.
Hey, Austin.
Hey, Jesse, how's it going? And I'm not familiar your name.
I'm Mallory.
Mallory.
Hey, Mallory. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm gonna go get me a rum.
Yeah.
I'll be
Okay.
right back.
While you're doing that, I'll ask Austin what he's drinking.
All right.
What you got there?
It's cheap Fireball in an expensive glass.
Fair enough. I have never bought a bottle of Fireball because it's all cinnamony, right?
Yeah, it's kind of my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I'm not good with the cinnamon. Flavors. Anything that tastes too much like those little cinnamon hearts.
Oh, that's exactly what it tastes like. It tastes
I
like
can't do it. Yeah.
80 proof, or is it 70 proof? Cinnamon Fireballs.
Okay, so proof is twice the ABV, right? Because you never see proof in Canada.
See, and then there's alcohol by volume, and there's alcohol by weight, but I think it's ABV.
Yeah, I think so too. Because in fact, here's an excellent example. This right here is a bottle of bourbon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Woodford Reserve, yeah.
Right? It doesn't even say proof on this. It says 45.2% alcohol by volume. Because up here, you don't use proof. Nobody does. So I always sort of have to remind myself what proof is.
Well, it's probably, I think even in the United States, probably the letter of the law, you cannot use proof as the only measure to sell alcohol because everything here also says ABV on it in parentheses.
Okay.
But I think proof is so colloquial.
Well, and also proof in the States, and because the British used to use proof, but it was not as simple as twice the ABV. There was like this whole sort of
formula.
Yeah. So American proof is a lot simpler. So let's see, where were we?
You're discussing Mallory's impressive garden.
Oh,
well, because I'm impressed by the fact that Mallory has that huge garden using old school skills rather than a tractor. We
do a whole bunch of stuff old school here. Like, like even our building and stuff. Well, I mean, we do have modern technology. We do have tractors and we do have a skidder for wood and stuff because, I mean, we can't do it all by hand, and I don't have like the horses to do it, but I mean, we try to do as much as we can. We brew our beer old-fashioned
There
way
you
with
go.
the grain, and man, what else?
I am dying to make whiskey, but I looked into it. I mean, this is like you win the lottery, you open a micro distillery kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
It's
getting
very capital heavy to do any homebrew.
capital heavy, but it's you can homebrew beer here as long as you don't sell it, and you can distill like essential oils and stuff. But to get licensed, even for just personal consumption, to have an alcohol like to distill booze in Canada and in Quebec is the license is so hard to get that you may as well just call it illegal.
I'm
Wow.
drinking homemade rum.
Are you?
Yeah, it's my friend Sean from North Shore Preparedness. He sent me a bottle for Halloween for my Halloween live stream,
Yeah.
and I still had some left. And I was like, "Man, you gotta send me some!" And it's so good.
Yeah. I would love to buy a still and stuff, but
Let's go to the hardware store and buy some copper pipe or copper
Yeah.
tubing.
yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna just chime in a little bit of an anecdote and some personal things I'm kind of working on. One of the things that's really interesting to see, I live near 3 really big Amish communities, and I go up there quite often and have woodworking stuff done and leather and
Yeah.
buy tools and save a lot of money working with them. But anyway, it's so interesting to see the areas that they adopt contemporary or modern conveniences and the places where they stick to like 17th century, like what's his name, like Townsend and Sons, like
Yeah.
But
I love that channel, by the way. I love Townsend's.
Yeah, so you'll see Amish guys like walking around their property with an LED headlamp strapped around
the hat.
The hat.
So there are different communities of Amish?
Yeah, there's so to give you an idea, like there's what they call the Amish way, and from my understanding of talking with Amish and other people that have like do business with them, is that they essentially will not accept. Am I buffering? I think I'm buffering.
A little bit.
You're buffering.
Was that?
Yeah, you're buffering. Although I got completely kicked off my own live stream
back?
twice tonight. So
You're back.
Oh yeah, you're back.
Okay. But they essentially will turn away anything that puts someone of the Amish community out of work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
threshing is done by hand.
Depends. Sometimes if there's a big enough job, they'll use an old steam thresher. I've seen that. But one thing that's really interesting to me is there's some Amish communities that have accepted rubber tires.
Oh.
And others that use steel wheels because they feel that putting someone out of work that would blacksmith the steel rims for the wagons is like sacrilege.
Yeah, see, I thought all Amish communities were like that.
Huh. So does it depend on whether or not you have a blacksmith in your community then? Like, does what is in the community start to decide what they shun and what they don't?
Well, but for example, they all have a blacksmith because they all shoe their horses.
Right.
So, or there's typically, yeah, I mean, anywhere I've been, there's one within a stone's throw, but they use gasoline engines for things like a hay bale elevator because it just makes life a little easier.
Right.
But they use gasoline to run like a Maytag washer.
Really?
Because you're not putting anyone out of business with a washing machine.
Right.
Yeah, nobody
Steve,
wants to do that for a living.
right? Steve on Oahu says he wants to buy an anvil. I would love to buy an anvil as well, but I've sort of been hinting at this lately that I'm at the stage in my life where there are fewer days ahead than there were behind. So starting to develop a skill like blacksmithing rather than improving my skill as a woodworker would be
Yeah.
the wrong choice for me.
For
But, you know,
hobby,
for an anvil, you don't need to go get that really big expensive one to start off. If you wanna
But
start
you want it,
blacksmithing
man.
I know, but I mean, if you wanna start practicing now and that's the only thing stopping you, just go to a metal shop and get an H-beam
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was just
and
gonna say,
use that
Or
to
a
start.
or a
old
rail.
railroad tie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
old
Yeah.
railroad.
or not rail tie, but a rail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. Because I would love to start, whapping out axe heads. Be a little Liam Hoffman up here. But
We have a forge here, and,
do you?
we have 2 of them. Yeah, but we're not really good yet.
Okay.
But, yeah, we just, like it's a one that you have to crank it, and so that it blows
Yeah.
the air, and then
Oh yeah.
yeah. But I also have a really good furnace in my garage, and
Mhm.
it gets really, really hot, so you can just literally put stuff in the fire in there. But
Yeah.
it can't be too long, I can't do a sword or something, but, like, for smaller things, it works perfectly fine.
It's funny because I have no intense desire to be a full-on blacksmith. Like, I don't want to be pounding out square nails or anything, though I do love square nails. I would only want to do like knives and axes, essentially, or like a draw knife or like a fro kind of thing, which I guess by definition makes me a freaking dilettante. And maybe that's
Well,
part of the reason, part of the thing that bugs me is that I don't
here's
like
the.
this. Oh, I'm waiting,
Sorry.
Austin.
Oh, I was gonna say, here's the modern equivalent. Is like I have about as many reasons to want to buy a welder as I want to also get an anvil and a forge. It's
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
We have one, a rod welder.
mhm.
I'm much better at welding than I am at forging,
I don't have a
but I
welder
still suck,
either.
though.
I
I
would I
mean,
would love that too, but
it holds, but it's not beautiful.
mhm.
It's really Oh my gosh, Grace, I'm so sorry. She manages a laundromat, and I just said, "You don't wanna do that for a living?"
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't going to pop it up on screen because I didn't want to embarrass you, but thanks for, bringing it up yourself
But I meant, like, literally cleaning, like, I was, like, in an Amish community, if somebody's actually washing, you know,
with
in the water,
a
I'm like, "Who wants to
washboard.
do that?" Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ben did that in Afghanistan for 8 months. He's like, "Never again."
Yeah.
um, but I get the other thing I'll share, and then I'll hop off. That's I'm kind of trying to let my collection of things make this decision for me. In the last couple of weeks, I just bought a house in the summer, and um, I'm not like it hasn't really changed my life significantly. It's just that I live in a house that I own now, but I want to put money away and things like that. And um, I've been so fortunate enough over my years of being before I got married. I just recently got married, but um,
Congratulations.
thank you. But in my bachelor years, to collect kind of tools and gear and things, and I was thinking back to when my grandmother was around, and she would often say the line, "Well, it was all that we had."
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, for example, like um, I would say, "Oh man, I want to get a cast iron skillet and learn how to fry things or bake cornbread," and she'd be like, "Well, that's all we had." Or
Yeah.
you would also um, like she'd also say that if like you said with an astonishment, like, "Wow, how did you wash clothes with a washboard?" Well, that was all that we had. We didn't have another choice.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of trying to um, ask myself, like, do I need to buy X new gizmo? Like,
Yeah.
because chances are I already have
Something.
something to do it
Yeah.
with.
Definitely. It all depends there on if with the time you want to save, and because you might have the things that are necessary to finish the job, but it might take twice or three times the time to get it done. So it depends on what your productivity expectations are, I guess.
Right.
But that sort of goes back to what I was saying, that when I'm doing the kind of job that I really enjoy, working on, doing some woodworking or whatever, I don't want to be too efficient, right? Because I'm not just trying to chow through the job. What? Shut up, Jesse. I'm not just trying to chew through the job.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying doing the thing. Whereas if I'm doing something that's like, I'm hanging more shelves, battery drill,
Right.
and I'm going back downstairs,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like we have a welder, we have a whole bunch of stuff, but it's because, okay, something broke and we need it fixed like now,
Yeah.
And so it's like we have a very, very good collection of tools and stuff that we've built up over the 10 years that we've been together. And just now it's like our normal,
Mm-hmm.
But like if we didn't have them, like we look back, we didn't have the farm 10 years ago, but if we didn't have them and we had the farm, man, we'd be like running everywhere. Hey, do you have this? Do you have that? And now everybody's coming to us.
Beg, borrow, or steal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually sold one of our trailers last year because we weren't using it. Everybody was using it but us.
Okay.
We're like, you know what? Might as well. We're paying for the inspection every year. We might as well just sell it because we use it once a year and everybody's like calling us to use it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I get that. By the way, Mallory, do you ever watch Wrangler Star?
I did watch him a little while back. I saw him pop up on my notifications actually, or like he was suggested to me or something like that.
Well, like he's the big daddy of YouTube homesteaders,
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't watch as much as I used to because when I first got hooked onto him, he was doing a lot of things like axe restoration, old school tools. He did one video where he saw how long it would take to drill through like a 3-inch piece of pine with a power drill and then with a bit and brace kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was just sucking that stuff up. Nowadays, it's a lot of AR-15s and
a lot of politics.
A lot of politics and a lot of like dirt biking. Meh, But whenever he does,
I was going to say.
Okay, you go first.
I was going to say, I think the algorithm has decided a lot of his content creation.
The algorithm told him to start doing very clickbaity titles, and yes, I'm not going to hate on the guy. I try when I'm online to only bring positivity, and he does still do some videos that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm watching that. But I was just bringing him up because he also does. I guess a healthy mix of old school skills and modern where it needs to be done. He's got a wood mill that is way beyond the Alaskan thing that I would buy. He's got like a big, huge,
the big slabs.
Yeah, he can do some big freaking slabs.
That's cool. Like you have those really big logs.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the bandsaw mill. It's
not the bandsaw. Yeah, it's an Australian one with a circular blade on it.
Oh, like Alaska the Last Frontier.
No, I don't know the name. But it's an impressive machine.
Yeah. He makes a lot of money off of YouTube, though. I mean, have you guys seen his tractor?
His
is it a Kyocera?
No, it's Yanmar.
Yanmar, right?
Well, that's cool. Good for him, man.
Yeah, there's a part of me that I always want to like dig those people, but then there's a part of me that's like, shit, if I ran across that kind of thing, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I totally would. Simone says it's a Lucas sawmill.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Gotcha. I got my first YouTube paycheck.
Nice.
2 days or 3 days ago.
So did I. Well, my first since being demonetized and then remonetized. But yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I'll be able to go send out my packages for my giveaways.
Right. I did want to I wanted to get back to what you were saying about like cast iron, by the way, Austin.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of cast iron here, and we also have some stainless pans. I gotta tell you, I don't really like the stainless.
Well, it was interesting. This last Saturday opened up deer season here in Wisconsin, and it goes through this coming Sunday. Rifle season, anyway.
Right. I just want to say good night to Lakes and Hikes.
Good night.
And to Colin.
Oh, good night,
guys.
Colin.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
And there's a plot of public land that I go out on that everyone and his brother that doesn't have permissions for private land hunting goes out on.
Right.
And needless to say, I didn't see any deer, but I shot a couple of squirrels. And I've wanted to try squirrel, but I figured, well, I'll shoot 2, and if I don't like them, I know. And so I got them home, and I cleaned them, which was an interesting experience. And then I wanted to pan fry them. Well, I got my old Wagner pan off the wall.
Hi, Dale.
And used them to fry squirrel, which I figured was so appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of have to say that I was surprised how easy it was to get back into cooking on cast iron. I think it's something that like is a lot of pain and heartache trying to learn how to cook on.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I want to get is one of those. It looks like a little piece of chain mail.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, to clean it with, right?
To just kind of lightly, like, you don't go to town on it, but
yeah,
it's better than like a scouring pad, or quicker than a scouring pad.
Have you tried some coarse salt and
that's what
a
I
potato?
use. Wait, a potato?
No.
Yeah, with a potato. And I use coarse salt in the potato, and I will just literally clean it that way with some water. And sometimes when I really want it nonstick, I will lay bacon all around it, all like in the bottom and in the middle. I will put it in the oven for like 400, and I will make it really nice and crisp, and I will keep all the bacon grease, and I will eat the bacon, and I will clean it with the bacon grease afterwards.
I don't use bacon for that. I use canola oil, but it's the same idea. Like I bake the oil. Yeah, to season it. Yeah.
Yeah, nonstick. Like you'll take it out of there, and then like just to like once in a while you put it back in the oven to season it with the bacon, and at 400 for an hour.
Yeah,
you're good.
Absolutely. Austin, I'm looking for your channel because Steve from Oahu asked, and I had the same issue at one point when I was trying to find you, that there were other Austin's Corners.
Well, I just commented in the. Can you click on my channel link in the?
No, can't do that anymore.
No, but
they don't want anyone to be held responsible for the things that they say in a chat.
I'm not going to even remotely, in any way, try to figure out what the hell YouTube is.
Okay,
thinking.
I got it here. I got his channel here. Here, I'll share it.
Okay, Mallory will do it because she's one of my mods.
Okay.
Oops.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff is hidden only because this last year I was on the job hunt, and I figured it would be best to not have opinionated things for the world to see.
Opinionated things, Austin? What?
Yeah, what else do you go on? What else do you rant on YouTube for?
Yeah.
What's your channel about, Austin?
What's on there right now is a lot of ham radio stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning the ham radio stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of a big, like, you'll see on my channel a review of this little case that my ham radio fits inside of.
Okay.
Oh shoot.
Don't break the radio, damn it.
Isn't that cool? You can talk to the world on this little thing.
Oh, I didn't know ham radios were that small.
Yeah.
I sort of.
Are those legal?
Yeah, I mean, I have a license.
He lives in the
Okay.
States. Everything's legal.
Oh yeah, forgot.
Because I still see ham radios as being like, in that film Contact.
No.
I've seen it a long time ago. Yeah.
But like she's sitting at this big box. How's it going in Pensacola? And so that's what I still thought ham radios were.
There's a video on my channel of me talking to a guy in Florida on this from
Wow.
Wisconsin.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's on my channel now. And then I should go on there and kind of comb through and make public some things again.
Right. But I did want to say, Austin, that the reason I went back to the cast iron comment you were making is that, to me, that's the pinnacle of what we're talking about, but in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You don't get much more. I mean, I would love, when I'm in the woods, I would love to have some of those old tin pans, those old,
oh yeah,
right?
That's kind of like, that's like Townsend and
yeah,
Sons,
yeah. You're digging deep. I can't afford a thing from Townsend because once you get
me
it across
neither.
the border, right? Imagine kicking a hole in your wallet, and then imagine kicking a hole in a Canadian wallet, where I'm paying massive amounts just to get it across the border, and I'm paying whatever you call it when you change money, exchange. You know,
was there was it Simone that said Canadian rubles or Canadian rupees?
Yeah, he's always talking like that. That's not my my bag.
I just thought I always chuckle because I think I've used that more than once after I heard that.
Yeah, I just want to say welcome to Jason McDaniel.
Hey, Jason. I just saw him on Be Ready's live just earlier.
Oh, really? Okay.
Dale, yes, that is his channel. Your last video was a year ago, as I can see. Right?
Mine?
Yeah.
Man, let me look at my channel. Yeah. X5105 QRP, Wisconsin to Florida. Yep.
A year ago. There you go.
I haven't gotten anything up in a few weeks, just because my editing machine is dead. So it's like, what's the point?
Nah.
But I will be getting stuff back to. I'm gonna fix this machine. Right now at work, everything is like this. But as soon as this project is over, I'm getting this machine going. Because I'm hurting here.
Here's a question for the Peanut Gallery. What's your what's an activity where you prefer the old world, and then an activity where you could not ever do the old world style ever again?
That's a good question. Everyone in the side chat, throw something up if you got something.
Something that I prefer doing the old way than the modern way, pretty much.
Yeah. And then one thing where the total opposite, like that you would never do the old way ever again.
That's a good question, man.
There's a lot of stuff where I like the old ways, and
making bread rather than using a bread machine.
Oh yeah, okay.
Kneading bread. Yeah, I much prefer knead bread than use the bread machine. I used to have one when I started making bread, but it turns out it's way better handmade.
Okay. That's legit.
And bread machines are massive.
Yeah, huge.
And it broke after a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sucked.
Yes. Okay. I have one.
My answer to this.
Oh, I got one for where I would not do the old school
toilet.
I have two where I would not do the old school. I would not go back to filming the way I filmed in film school. I would not go back to editing with a razor blade and a piece of sticky tape.
Oh yeah.
I would not go back to being terrified that I may have overexposed the film. Made the wrong cut. You can just fix, right? You just stick tape on it, you know? I would not want to go back to not knowing whether or not I got the shot until I developed the film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff. Like I started this YouTube channel because I went to school to make movies and I wasn't making movies, and YouTube was a way to at least scratch the itch. I knew I was not going to be a filmmaker in the old school sense, but YouTube would let me at least use cameras and and then I discovered that none of my skills mattered. Visual dynamics did, right? Rule of thirds, and trying to put a picture together. It doesn't show sometimes when I'm trying to film myself and I don't see everything, but all those theories work. They're transportable. They're portable. Sorry, from film to video to painting to photography to drawing. But when you learned how to shoot on film and edit in an old school editing suite, where you got like this ton of guillotine, that's a razor blade, snap your film and you take
Oh
that
my
part out
gosh.
and you glue it together, and putting a video together. I spent 5 days straight in the editing bay for my final film, and it was only a 15-minute film. Right, and I had like 4 hours of sleep over that time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And when I made the final splice, and that's not even like marrying all the audio tape that you've also had to cut and splice at the same right. 5 days straight, I made the last splice. Where
can we see this creation?
You're not gonna. It's I don't even know where it is, but like. My partner was saying, okay, just make that last splice. And I was like, okay. He said, just make the last splice. Yeah. I said, are you a little tired? Yeah. So, okay, I'll do it. So he did the last splice. It was the last splice, and I just
Did he follow that up?
Like, it was done. And we'd been in there for 5 days, and I just got up, stepped outside the soundproof door, closed it, sat down on the floor, and cried like you would not believe.
Oh, no.
And I do not want to go back to that. That's where the old school just doesn't do it for me anymore.
Yeah.
I love editing a video for like 4 hours to get a 10-minute video out. Sucks, but I always have that in the back of my head. And like, this works. This is fine. Yeah, I'm tired and I'm going to be grumpy tomorrow, but you know what? I like this because I don't have to deal with that. Trying to change film in like a big black bag so that you don't accidentally expose one roll of film one spool of film before you get the other one into the.
It's so funny how fine of a line that is for like a generation gap.
Yeah,
because there's people that are not much younger than you for whom will have no concept of doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was looking through some old photos that I had yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was looking through all the negatives, and I was like, man, those were the days, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I do have to say, holy crap, Jagerheim. Oh my God, stop drinking, Jesse.
Jagerheim Farm?
Jagerheim Farm is here.
Hello.
He ain't been here in a long ass time. Mallory, you just met him a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's him.
That's him.
Okay.
Nice to see you, buddy. I've been I FaceTimed with him recently, and he showed me the pigs and stuff.
Cool.
It had been a long time.
I'm trying to remember. There was something that I was doing recently, and I was like, I couldn't get over how much I was enjoying doing something the old way, and like I was so obsessive about it.
Right.
That Stephanie told me to finally shut up. I get that you're enjoying yourself, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, while you're trying to remember that, some of the people in the side chat have met your channel, your challenge.
Yeah.
Mark says chopping wood with an axe, online chat, or ham. There is no old way. Well, ham is kind of the old way in some ways. It's not like ancient though.
But I mean, even within ham, there's everything from Morse code all the way to stuff where you plug your computer into the radio and you don't ever lift a finger.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Steve says we're woodworking, however, hybrid. Yeah, Steve said earlier that everything for him is a hybrid of old and new.
And I suppose for all of us, that's probably true.
In many ways, yeah. Simone is asking, Mallory, I'm sure you don't want to shovel manure if you have the automatic scrubber.
Scrubber?
I don't know. I don't know what. Well, he used to work on a farm, so he might be talking about something you don't have. Dale says, old school way, floating and fishing in a canoe. I don't fish because, as you guys know, fish allergies. But yeah, that sounds amazing. New school, wrenching on autos. Yeah, I learned how to change my brakes and a whole bunch of things on my old Camry before it finally fell apart under me. But with new school cars, like there's no way I'm getting under the car that we have now. Because like as soon as you touch something, your warranty is void.
True.
TP versus leaves. Give me
There you
TP every time. All right, Grace.
You know what though? Here's one for the peanut gallery. I was out hunting, and here's my hunting vest right hung up here. And you know what I picked? In case I needed to go
Comfrey?
number 2.
Leaves?
Mullen.
Holy
Mullen,
crap, those are big mullen leaves.
Yeah.
The only thing I've ever used mullen for was to make a steam for my asthma.
Yeah, that's a good thing to keep in your pocket if you find some big ones in case you gotta
holy crap
pop a squat in the woods.
Yeah, truth.
I always travel with Kleenexes and stuff because of my kids and always.
Yeah. Black Last Boy Scout he's straight up old school. He cans and yeah. Okay, so there's no modern thing that he requires
except the computer.
Yeah. Alain says he prefers email to snail mail. I like email because you get your message out there, but I do like receiving, especially if it's a handwritten letter. Like if I have something special to say, I'll handwrite that stuff out, and I'll send it in an envelope, like the old school way.
It's crazy how we forget to write when we don't write for so long.
My handwriting is terrible anyway.
Oh my gosh. I wrote a letter the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like I used to write so nice and now it's just like, where'd it go?
Yeah.
I think for me, I kind of have a nostalgia for writing letters. I actually just started this personal letter writing project where last week I sent Mikhail Gorbachev, Jimmy Carter, and Dame Pendling of the Bahamas letters. So I'm kind of writing
like the Governor General.
Yeah.
As soon as you say Dame in the Bahamas, I'm thinking Governor General.
Yep. So I'm starting this kind of project to write elder world leaders kind of letters to see if I get anything back. Yep, I've got a box here. And then there's some friends that like we kind of have letter conversations where like we will explicitly like avoid talking about particular topics in our text messages or like social media messages, and
instead
keep them letters.
That's cool. Pen pals.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. I used to have pen pals. That was a different world. A different world. Steve is with me about the film, but the production process is the same. That's absolutely true. Black says he would never give up his chainsaw and wood matches. It's about being efficient. That's good to know. I mean, and he's true about that. It is definitely more efficient.
Yeah.
Alain says he hates dial-up internet. Yeah, I hate dial-up internet as well. Those are the bad old days. Like you wanted to go online and you'd hear this awful squawk. I remember I was hired to
56K modem.
Yeah, right. There was one guy who hired me to come over and set up his computer for him. I used to work anyway, whatever. And I said, so have you been online yet? And he said, I don't know, man. I turned on the modem and I tried to do the thing, but it started making all these sounds, so I just unplugged everything. I'm like, no. I mean, it's supposed to sound horrible. That's where okay.
That was so weird, wasn't it?
Except it wasn't at that time. But could you imagine like my daughters or your daughters hearing that?
Imagine all the men trying to sneak away to go online and and it's like you couldn't it wasn't even your speakers, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dale says hasn't even used a stamp in at least 10 years.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Here's an interesting one. Grace asks, steak on coals versus steak on grill. You know why I find this one so interesting?
Gas grill.
is because I've only ever had a charcoal barbecue.
Mhm.
Everyone I know has a gas grill, but I don't even talk. I'm not talking about those stupid. You know the briquette. You know those little square things. The briquette. What are they
The
called in English?
Charcoal briquette.
charcoal, yeah. Yeah, the briquettes.
Not even those. No, man. I'm talking chunk ass charcoal.
Oh, coal.
No, not coal.
Fl-
Charcoal,
Charcoal.
but chunk charcoal, hardwood charcoal, and that's what I use because I understand the desire to get your damn sausages done in 30 seconds instead of like 12 minutes kind of thing, but you can't beat the taste of something that's been cooked over good old fashioned charcoal.
You're talking about like sort of like biochar, like char.
It's charred wood,
Charred wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
chunk charcoal.
There you go.
You know what you use for like a big green egg or something like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Here's my never going back is snow blowing.
Mm,
Oh my god. After I bought a
legit.
good snowblower that works, I never want to pick up a shovel another day in my life.
I have a terrible snowblower, so I haven't yet experienced that. But I love the theory of it because just
Yeah.
because, you know, I'm so tired of shoveling. Because what'll happen is I'll finish shoveling the driveway, and then the plow will come by and leave like this right
Mm.
across the bottom of my driveway, and I'll just be like, I'm gonna kill the whole world.
Yeah, that's a perennial challenge unless you have the most expensive and behemoth of snowblowers getting plowed in.
I think that what I have is technically called an electric shovel or an automatic shovel. Like it's a tiny, tiny snowblower,
Oh, sure.
and it's not strong enough to just through like a
Yeah.
big, you know, I've got to sort of go around the edges and ta ta ta, and then ta ta ta, and ta ta, and it takes me like 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
You
On
know?
my other homestead, we decided to pay somebody to do it because
Mm,
we were like, you know what? Why not? Over here, nobody will come out here. Nobody will come on top of this mountain to come do it for us. So
right.
we have a really good tractor.
I like what Black says here. I baked a butternut squash in my wood stove today. That's like
Mm.
first of all, I love squash. I love foods that sort of. I have a real thing for fall foods. Like I like the Sacred Sisters, right? Corn, squash, and beans. But yeah, squash when you've baked it over wood, holy crap, dude.
Here's one. This
Okay.
is the one that I was thinking about. I was so excited. This is not necessarily the old way. The old way is a straight razor, but I learned to shave with a safety razor, and I'm not good enough to shave both sides of my face with a straight razor. But
You know what's
man, when I did the cost savings for
Mhm.
safety razor to cartridge shaving,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
unbelievable.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny that you bring that up because what I had originally, one of the things that started me off on this subject tonight was that I have to get a spot of rust off of my razor.
Hmm.
This is the razor I use. I have two of them, right? I use one day. See that little spot of rust right there? Of
No,
course
it's
you don't,
pretty
because
over.
You
my
try
lighting.
Pepsi?
There we go.
Coca-Cola?
What about
I was
flits?
what?
Have you tried flits?
I don't even know what that is.
Here, let me grab it.
Flits? Flits.
Coca-Cola is pretty good too to remove rust on cars and stuff.
Used to use Coca-Cola to polish my my hat brass when I was in cadets.
Well, there you
Go
go.
go to your hardware store and find this.
Flits. Okay.
This is it's an abrasive polish,
Yeah.
and I put a little bit on a Q-tip if I've got like a carbon steel knife or in this
This is
case your
carbon steel
razor,
for sure. Yeah.
and sit there and just do a circle and circle and circle with flits, and it comes right out.
Okay.
Unless it's like pitted, but if
It's
it's
not
just
pitted.
surface rust,
Yeah.
I've taken things out of boomsticks and knives and
Anything.
yeah,
Mm.
flits.
Good to
Ale
know.
says he's used flits for years and it's been really good.
Who said that?
Ale?
Ale? Okay. So it is something we can get up here then. I just wanted to chew through a couple of these. Tenenbaum says, old ways, designing something with a pencil and paper. I also appreciate pencil and paper. New ways, downhill skiing. I haven't downhill skied in so long that I don't even know what the modern equipment looks like. Hey, Dennis is here. How's it going, Dennis? We're yapping about old school methods versus new school methods. Now, what time is it? Are we about to
5
six more minutes? Okay. All right. I'm just going to try to chew through this here. Old ways. Hockey sticks some wood should be involved versus hockey skates. The new composite boots are incredible. I didn't even know that because I do not play hockey.
No, me either.
Jason McDaniel says, when camping, I prefer cooking over a campfire rather than a gas stove.
Oh,
I'm with you there. I always bring a gas stove, but on several trips, we never used it.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of a backup thing. Last day you've used up all your wood, you're making soup or something.
Or if it rains or something.
Or if it rains.
I was going to suggest this. I don't know if this is
hot water. I wouldn't want to go back to having to boil my water.
Fair.
True. I don't know if they sell this up in Her Majesty's Commonwealth.
Oh yeah, the Backwoodsman. Yeah, I bought that.
Yeah, man. This is
that's the pinnacle of old school knowledge.
Yeah, but but then there's guys on here that are kind of like what's someone from Oahu who
hold on. It's Steve.
Steve, like Oahu. Steve was saying, he's does things hybrid, and there's kind of articles in here about new school things too. So yeah, if you ever find this at your Fleet Farm or grocery store, it's really cool. Like this one was about a guy who put together a $40 12 gauge shotgun and people doing homesteading kind of stuff, and good magazine.
The homesteading stuff really gets me where I live because I would love to do it, and it's not going to happen in this lifetime because I would have to give up my family to do it, and that's kind of not going to happen. It doesn't make sense for us, But hey, Wood Pigeon's here too.
Hey, Wood Pigeon.
How's it going? We got a good group here, guys.
I found that local chapters. Oh yeah.
There's a book that I've seen advertised to me on social media called, I don't know, it's something like Self-Sufficient Backyard or something guide. And this guy and his wife apparently write like the quintessential guide to making your backyard like your homestead.
Really?
And I can find it and message you the link, but it's really interesting to me because I think it's really like, I think what keeps it out of reach for most people is just like obligations, right? Like if you want to have a self-sufficient backyard, like of a couple, one of you, that has to be your full-time job, tending to a garden and tending to,
and I would, if we wouldn't lose the house, I would do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And you need a lot of space too. You need a lot of land. I mean, you could homestead on like a half acre, right? But you won't be able to have cows.
Right.
And, so the amount of land also is something that isn't accessible. But if you want to garden and do, like, I know some people that have really small properties and they garden and they produce a ton of food. I mean,
now, Steve. And this, Steve, all right, have a good one. Oh, he's going to the hardware store. Okay.
See ya.
Because Mallory, we were saying earlier that you use some pretty old school methods for your massive freaking garden, which is why
Yeah.
I said you've probably got like the gun show, you know. Um, and that's even whether you go modern or not is less important when you've got a very, because my garden is, well, my wife and child's garden, because let's face it, they're in charge.
Yeah.
I just sort of pick stuff and whatever they want me to do, right? We have stuff very sort of compartmentalized in certain ways here. I do not try to make decisions based on, about the gardening.
Yeah.
When you got something as small as we do, there's no reason to opt for any sort of modern efficiency. We don't have the space for it to matter.
True.
My lawn is small enough that I use an old school, it's not really old school because it was brand new a couple of years ago from Lee Valley, but a reel mower.
Yeah.
As opposed to imaginary roller, like one that you,
Yeah, you push.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of electrical mowers in our neighborhood, which is kind of leapfrogging the whole gas mower thing. But there's someone on this block somewhere who has a gas mower, and every time it's everyone's like,
On a Sunday morning.
everyone's like, oh, why is he doing this? Because they're all using because there are 3 of us who use these little reel mowers, and then the rest use these electrics, and they don't make nearly the kind of noise that those gas ones do. But it's weird that it's like really old school, like 3 of us, and then really modern, and then there's one guy in the middle who uses, the gas mower.
Yeah. Or maybe he gets it done by somebody.
Or maybe. Or maybe. Like I have a rake. Remember rakes, guys?
Yeah.
Right?
Leaf
I have a rake.
I have plenty of rakes.
No, I can't get the leaves out of my flower beds with a leaf blower. But
well, maybe you don't do what makes me hate the leaf blower so much. But there's a guy, there are some guys, but there's one guy in particular who I walk past sometimes after dropping my kid at school.
Blows all the clippings onto the street?
Just blows it into the street. And I just want to, you are not a good citizen.
I walk into the street and blow the clippings back into my yard.
Man, I steal bags of leaves from people and I bring them over to my house.
For
compost?
Yeah, well, no, I layer them on top of my garden and all around my trees and in my flower beds and everything.
Now, do you use them as like mulch? Yeah.
Yeah. They decompose really fast and they feed the soil really well.
No.
And they stop all weeds from growing.
Yeah, that's why I don't actually rake up the leaves at the end of the season. I've convinced my wife that we don't rake leaves. We leave them.
Yep.
Then, Halloween comes around and they want to fill those, pumpkin garbage bags. Like, whoa. But yeah, I don't know. We are past 11, so we're gonna have to. Oh, we're 2 minutes past, so we're not that late.
Grace, I don't know if I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow. I'm still a little bit burnt out. I might come back in December with a guest. So stay tuned for that.
Wait, you can't Mal, you can't say that. And well, no, okay, we'll let you go, and we won't ask who the guest is. But
well, I posted her out on my community post. So.
Oh, you did already. Okay, I'll go and check that out. So for those of you in the side chat, thank you for hanging out with me. Those of you who are new tonight, I'm thrilled to see you in my side chat, and maybe get you on screen at some point in the future. All it takes is a camera and a pair of cans so that you don't get the echo happening. We're going to talk about many, many interesting things for the rest of this year and into next year. I have a couple more panel discussions and interviews coming up, hopefully, and I'm excited to see where the live streams go. But for now, I will see you guys next week. Everyone, please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay kind. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See you guys.